are you talking about? Hey guys, what's up? So Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums, and today I'm going to be doing a quick mini albums review. I'm going to talk about a bunch of albums that probably no one on the internet had listened to, so this video is probably going to get 0 views, so that's great. I feel like I'm talking to a wall right now. But yeah, I'm going to talk about a bunch of albums that I listened to lately that I don't want to spend a lot of time reviewing. And we will start off with GlassAnimals with I Love You. I love you so fucking much, bro. New GlassAnimals album, I Love You So Fucking Much. The title is literally censored. So that's very edgy. And yeah, once again, just like their last album, Dreamland, we have another heaping helping of basic generic alt-pop music. The thing is, a lot of the tracks sounds okay, actually. Some tracks here are decently catchy, but they're all immediately forgettable. I listen to them, and like 5 minutes later, I don't remember listening to these tracks. The track What the Hell Is Happening sees the band try to do these like trippy, woozy rock pop music, but it's so overproduced it's almost grating. And lyrically, this album is not as terrible and insufferable as their last album, but there's also some truly intriguing lyrics on this album, including on the track Wonderful Nothing. Tell me I'm scrumptious. I'm a fucking delight. Your party's so damn tired, kinkiness pretty light, and you're dressed up like a tiger, but you're a fly stuck in my eye. And what's that face? So you got some scrapes, I'll pile drive you anyway? We have the track A Tear in Space, where the beepy boopy keyboards and the falsettos come together in a very ugly way. And the second half is just very trite and basic. It's just one love song after another, after another, after another. So, nothing too crazy here. It's not insufferable, but it is a very cliche album. Very trite. Feeling a light 4 on this thing. Danish singer-songwriter EliasRonnenfelt. Let me try it again. EliasRonnenfelt. Solo album, Heavy Glory. So formerly frontman and vocalist of the amazing post-punk band Ice Age has gone solo. So gone is the sound of noise punk and post-punk. And now we have a lot of singer-songwriter stuff on this album. A little bit of rock flair, a little bit of country flair, in fact, on the album opener Like Lovers Do. And he also tries country on several other tracks here and there, which is really cool. Not necessarily his strong suit, however. I do really like these swinging guitar grooves and the angry spoken word, or like the angry singing that borders on spoken word on the track No One Else. Also, we have the track Worm Grew a Spine, which is a fun, tight jam with drum machine, and lyrically he describes a feast, but it's rotten. How the tablecloth is broken, and the fruits and the produce are rotten, etc., etc. It's very interesting. Despite the fact that Danish is his first language, he still manages to pen some interesting English lyrics here and there. The track Soldier Song is a guitar ballad with duetting vocals and some strange chord progressions that I kinda like. But beyond that, this album has a lot of really bland hooks, and a lot of the songs here just don't have the same fire and passion that you would hear on Ice Age. The track Stalker sounds like a Coldplay song, and the track Close is a track that builds tension that never releases, and the album ends off on a pretty weak note. So unfortunately, I'm giving Heavy Glory a decent 6 out of 10. And then we have the new JustinTimberlake. Justin Timberlake, everything I thought it was. Yeah, I kind of just ignored this album because I wasn't that interested, but I was trying really hard to look for bad albums so that I could do my top 20 worst albums of the year list. And then I listened to it, and honestly, it's not terrible. It's not as bad as his last album, but it's still very mid. Um, Essentially, Justin Timberlake is still trying really hard, and emphasize on the word still trying really hard to live up to pop music in the 2020s. So he's incorporating these elements like trap beats and dance pop and like lo-fi moody shit, and he just doesn't do those things justice. And this album becomes such a huge mess. It's like everything in a kitchen sink. The album opener, Memphis, he sounds like Drake with like a low-key hip-hop beat and auto-tune singing. The track Fucking Up the Disco is a fun disco pop song with slick guitars, summery synths. It's playful, and it's he's being a bit of a bad boy. He's having fun, and it's not bad. Same thing happens on the track Infinity Sex, which is one of the stupidest titles of the year. And No Angels is a disco dance song, again, a la Dua Lipa. And again, Justin Timberlake tries to do this, oh, I'm a sexy bad boy, yeah, kind of thing. And man, you're like 43 years old. And this track is boring as hell. Technicolor, what the hell is going on? This is a 7-minute long, multifaceted, sexy, moody R&B track. That just sounds dumb and silly and soulless. Then we have tracks like Drown, which is kind of a weekend song. The track Sanctified is easily the weirdest track here, with awkward layered vocals and a very poor attempt at funky guitars. The penultimate track on the album, Paradise, features NSYNC. They came back together for an emotional ballad, but it's kind of a boring track and it's not so well produced. Maybe for NSYNC fans, this might be great, but honestly, NSYNC fans, they're probably in their late 30s now, so I don't know what demographic is this album really trying to appeal to. Feeling a light 4. New BloodIncantation album, Absolute Everywhere, Absolute Elsewhere. And it is an incredibly interesting prog metal, sci-fi, weird occultism kind of album. 6 tracks here. The first 3 tracks is the Stargate Tablets 1, 2, and 3. The last 3 tracks are called the Message Tablets 1, 2, and 3. I love a concept album. I love it when black metal is infused with weird sci-fi things. It's just that I don't think this album really blew my mind at all. I feel like I've listened to albums like this somewhere else already, but there's still a lot of interesting passages here. The moody meditative guitars on the first track, the woozy sci-fi synth bits in the second track, amazing. The Tool-esque vocal layers on the third track and the last couple of tracks are fantastic as well. Meanwhile, I think the metal parts are just okay. The guitar passages and the riffs and the blast beats aren't necessarily that interesting or groundbreaking in my opinion, so I'm kind of feeling a 7 out of 10 for this album. Strong 7. Yes. Another metal album I'm going to be talking about is the new PaysageD'Hiver album, Die Berge. So, another metal album, all the way from Switzerland, PaysageD'Hiver. A few years back, I reviewed their album Im Wald, and I thought it was kind of interesting, but also kind of lackluster. This album is a bit of a step up from that. I feel like Die Berge is way more ambitious of an album. I like how wintry and foreboding and ominous the music here sounds. But the thing is, I don't know if it's the band's problem or if it's Spotify's problem, but the mixing is awful. When I listen to this album on Spotify, it just sounds like a muffled mess. And I don't know why. I feel like I'm listening to some of the greatest metal ever, but through a piece of cloth through both my ears. I admire how insanely long-winded some of the songs here. I mean, some of the tracks here are 15 minutes to 18 minutes long. They're so cumbersome. They are bordering on ambient music. But at the same time, because of that, some of the tracks here are incredibly repetitive and redundant, and they just go on and on and on. But I still love the aesthetic of it all. And I'm feeling a light 7. C. Yeah. Yes. Final album I'm going to be talking about is the new NYPD album, Guy Guy. Now, this is an album that truly no one has ever listened to because it is an underground indie rock band from Hong Kong, my hometown. And I was quite excited about this album before going into it because their first album has some of the more interesting, noisy, aggressive punk that I've heard coming out of Hong Kong. And I was really excited to see them progress their sound. And lo and behold, Guy Guy is 2 hours long. It has a very beautiful album cover, not gonna lie. I very much enjoy the album cover. But how and where did 2 hours of musical material came from? So I listened to the tracks, and oh my god, it's AI generated. So the whole fucking album is AI generated. And I just thought it's stupid because they are talented. They have talent. They made some in fact, earlier this year they released a single that I thought was really funny, kind of catchy, and would be a perfect single for the album. But no, that song didn't even end up on this album because this whole album is AI generated. It sounds like a mess. The vocals are layered in a way it sounds like a demon is haunting them. None of the lyrics make sense. You hear it and you hear individual words, and then you hear it more and you're like, none of this makes sense. And it just sounds like regurgitated musical vomit is what this sounds like. So I'm not even going to give this a rating. I'm just disappointed. I'm just going to give this a out of 10. I was going to review a bunch of other Hong Kong albums, but I haven't even reviewed them in my Cantonese channel, so I can't really review them here for now. Yeah. So, these are the albums I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to review 2 more albums, and then I'm done with 2024. I'm done with 2024. I'm done. So, thank you for watching, and subscribe if you want more.